to join the third Akash Hackathons workshop. This is Chris. I'm from DoraHacks team, and it's been an honor for me to host another workshop for this hackathon. And it's actually the very first time that DoraHacks to host the hackathon for Akash team. Definitely super excited about it. It's gonna be a 40-day long hackathon with a couple required tracks, also with a lot of decent prize pool and some very legit judges and mentors from the whole Cosmos ecosystem teams. So if you are devs and you have some ideas that would love to build on top of the Akash, you are more than welcome to join this hackathon, potentially win some prizes and get supported, get connected with some most promising teams and people in the Cosmos ecosystems. And today we are very happy to have Benjamin from Akash team to join us as the speaker. And today's topics will be, Benjamin, why don't you actually introduce yourself first, and maybe you can just take over the stage from here.
Yes, thank you, Chris, for the introduction. So today's agenda will be showing everyone how to create a simple app on Akash from scratch. So I will be showing how to do it in Python and create a super basic script. I will show how to build it, how to package it and deploy to Akash. And then I will explain briefly how to go from there to more advanced use cases. I'm just going to mention quickly here that I'm running into a bit of technical issues, but I think I can show everything regardless. Just hang on 1 minute and I will be sharing my screen. Okay, it should be, no, still doesn't work, I don't think. Can you see the Docker desktop here and the paint in the background?
Yeah, we can see both.
Awesome. So before starting, I just want to mention here that you need to have a running Docker service with an account that you're logged into. Personally, I use Docker Desktop and it's currently not working. It just says starting and I've been unable to fix it in the past 10 minutes. You also need an Akash wallet with 5 AKT, more than 5 AKT, to cover for the deployment and some fees. And lastly, you need to log in with this wallet on CloudMost Deploy, the website where most people deploy on Akash. So let us start with the command prompt. First of all, we want to create a folder for our environment, which I will be calling Akash app. And I will open this in VS Code just because I prefer this ID, but you can do it in File Explorer, another ID if you'd like. And then I will create a super simple Python application. This is it. This is the app that we're going to deploy to Akash. Very simple. but also very educational for our purposes. And to test that it's working, I can test this locally just by running the app. When running apps on Akash, you want to build them into images, which can be hard to understand if you've never used images, but they're popular for both virtual machines and to create other sorts of environments for your applications. On Akash, you need to package everything into Docker images, which I will show you how to create. You create a file named Docker file. There should be no file extension, so no .py, nothing like that. And you basically you write a few instructions here that say what I want to. This is not what they're actually called, but just to show you in simple layman terms. You start with the operating system that you want to use. Then you configure everything. So maybe you need to copy some files over. Maybe you need to run some commands. And then when it actually starts up, you want to run another command. In our case, we will start with a Python image. It's also really popular for people to just use the Ubuntu one, a Linux-based operating system. But this is very big and there's no need for something like that just for this simple tutorial. Then we copy the files over from our directory here to the image. You can copy over individual files as well, but I used to copy over everything to the root directory. And lastly, we want to run our command, just like we did here, python app.py. We want to do the same here. So when we build it, these two commands will create the image. And then every time we want to run the image, this is what it will be starting with. And now, in an ideal world, we would be testing, we would build this, we would run this, and we would push this. So I will paste the commands here and just show you how it will be. So you write docker build, and then use the tag flag here. And then you have to consider all of these different parts of the Docker image. So the first one is your own personal username. A slash separates that from the name of the actual app, and then a colon separates it from the version. I want to note here that many tutorials show that you should build with a colon latest. But if you do this on Akash, if you send the same image but update it to a provider, it will not update it if they have not removed it from their I see a chat message. If I'm running Linux, can I load a Docker engine from the browser and download Docker desktop in that operating system? Yes, you can. You can run a Docker service on Linux, but I'm not quite sure if Docker desktop is supported. I don't believe it works in the browser, but I've seen some websites helping build and test Docker images. I am only experienced with Mac OS and Linux, and Windows, not Linux. So where was I? Username is your own username that you have on Docker Hub. Akash app is the name of the image. If you want to create something, this could be anything from Minecraft server to website or anything you just want to call your application, and then the version with the caveat I just mentioned. This dot just explains that we want to build in the current folder that we're in. So in this case, Akash app in this folder. But as you see, I can't run this command right now. But it does not really matter that much. Then it has this locally. You can run this command. And it would return the same as running this command. But I can't show it. And then to build it, you run docker push and then the same. So after running these three commands, you should have something that you can find on Docker Hub. So this is my username. This is the old name I was testing with earlier, and this is the version I used. And you can either go to your profile or you can search it to find your own. And we can use this on CloudMos. So I'm already logged in on CloudMos. And I've gone to the deploy, and we don't need to create our own STL. We can just use another one just to save time and so we don't have to learn as much. I will explain a bit about it as well. So I just press the hello world one, which is a heavily commented STL and a very simple one. This attribute we want to change to our own image, which in my case is, this is my username, this is the name of the image, and this is the version. If you have a port in your app, you want to check this out. I won't explain a lot more than we need to. And then if, say, you have an application that that needs more CPU memory or storage, maybe you'll have some large files, or maybe you'll do a lot of computations, you can consider changing these. And then this one is important as well if you have a lot of resources that you're trying to rent, you want to change this as well. This number does not correlate to the price of what you will be paying, but more so what you advertise to providers, that anything under this amount I want to see as bids. And that's it. We can create this deployment now. Approve. And now, if you're familiar with deploying in general, you can just follow the same process. You choose a provider. Maybe let's take Europe plots. I like them. And then here in logs, we will see hello world. This is everything that the application does. But for most other apps, if you go to leases, you will see URIs here. And you can click on this to go to maybe a web app, or you can copy this if it's maybe a game server, or you get the idea. And now I want to show you how to continue from here. If you have any questions, please just feel free to ask them.
Yeah, actually, there is one questions from YouTube audience. If you don't mind, I can ask right now.
Yeah, sure. Read it.
Yeah, if I'm running Linux, can I load a Docker engine from the browser?
I'm going to interrupt you here. I already read it and answered it.
Cool, sounds good.
Okay, so I created another Python app. I will just paste it in here to explain a little as we go. So if we want to use external libraries, those that are not already installed in the normal Python environment, like PyJox, for example, we need to install it as well. If you were to just do this change here, it would not be able to run on Akash. Before we do this, I just want to show you what the app actually does now. I have no idea what this means. Anyways, it prints hello and then a name and then a random joke from the PyJokes library. I might not have it installed. No, this was the joke. Yeah. And on Akash, this is how you would get the environment variables. So if we have a more advanced STL, I will just go to this one, for example. Here you can see examples of env variables being used. This could be usernames, passwords, links, or anything else you want to change outside of your image without having to rebuild it. And we will try to get the name one. So if we had a STL that said something like name, that said this, we would deploy it. This variable would be the same as this. So it would print hello, Figur, and this random joke. However, as I mentioned, we wouldn't be able to just simply run this on Akash. It's very simple here, but it can be annoying depending on how far your configurations will go. We will have to edit our Docker file. So the Docker file changes the environment with any commands, any files, and just about anything. So if you want to change settings, if you want to install something, if you want to run commands before this final command is run, you need to have them be before it. So I have an example here. I will just really show. If you were to add this instruction, you can install packages in Python like this, pip install pyjokes. So the commands run before the final one are called run, and the final command or enter point is usually CMD when I'm creating the images, but this can vary as well. If you go through the Docker documentation, it will be more elaborative. So now if we were to run the commands again, we would build it, we would test it first maybe, and then push it to Docker Hub again. It would work. We would, instead of just having hello world, we would have our hello name and then the random joke from the installed library. This is everything that I wanted to cover here. If you have any questions on anything, I can try to answer it as best as I can.
Yeah, I think right now there's no questions, so we can just continue.
Perfect. I will let you continue if you have anything.
Cool. Actually, I think there's no more questions. I guess if that's everything, I think we can actually wrap up from here. Definitely appreciate Benjamin again for taking the time to join this workshop as a very efficient workshop for all of the audience who are interested about the topics. So also appreciate all of the audience who joined this workshop and participate. If you still have any questions and want to watch the video of the whole workshop, we will upload the video later on our YouTube channel. We'll also post the link in our social media, so feel free to follow up there. So Benjamin, there's actually one more question here. So when the app is deployed, how would you make it available in the browser for others to visit?
Yes, so to answer this briefly, I can share my screen again just to show. So the simplest would be, assuming you have mapped the ports correctly. So say you have something that would run on localhost port 3000, and you want it to be just a normal web port 80. And this is how you would configure it. You can also look into IP leases if you want to have it accessible through an IP. And if I open the documentation, there's also something related to how to map it to a domain and how to make it look like it is HTTPS. Here, so if you go to this page, it will show you how to, it will show you with examples how to map it to a domain and how to add TLS through Cloudflare. And for IP leases, I believe it is here. And it shows you how to do the same, but for IPs, as I mentioned. And then once you have it as an IP, you can just do DNS management as you normally would.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Benjamin. Oh, I saw you also raising the hand. Is there any specific thing that you want to mention?
Yeah, it was just that I noticed the question.
Okay, cool. Cool. I think that should be the very last one. And thanks again, Benjamin, for your time. And thanks for everyone to join this workshop. We'll upload the link later today or tomorrow, maybe. Feel free to check out there if you still want to review some of the knowledge that Benjamin just shared. And yeah, hope everyone have a great day and looking forward to see you guys soon. Thank you very much, Benjamin.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.